Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the Slay to Success Talk Show. My name is Rochelle Slay Queen Hemingway, CEO and founder of Slay to Success. I advise and empower women professionals, especially women veterans, to step up into their most authentic personal brand to attract lucrative opportunities. And we are focusing on 4 different areas: our appearance, behaviors, communication skills, and our digital presence. Those are the ABCDs. And so I have been on this show for probably about close to 2 years now, y'all. And I keep finding SLAYMAZING guests to come here and be part of the show. So we are always starting from the word slay. Slay means to kill it, to dominate it, and to nail it, to be on point, to impress greatly, to dream big and work hard until you own it. It is also an acronym that stands for Universal Life and Leadership Philosophies that really resonate with me the most. And I know that it resonates with you because you are here in this space with us, and that is stay ready to be ready, lead out loud, a sense of community, and knowing you are built to last. So as you join us tonight, please make sure that you tell us where you're streaming in from. All right. Let us know your name so that way we can give you a proper shout out. And please, if you have anything that you want to share, feel free to do so. The purpose of this specific talk show is to bring in men and women who are living life on their own terms, making a positive impact in this world using the slay philosophies. And I assure you, every time I ask someone to come on the show, it's because they are in alignment with what I'm sharing. And here we talk about leadership, wellness, mindset, personal branding, a little bit of business strategy. So I have found another guest for us to have an experience with. She is absolutely in the space of transition. And so I am a professional keynote speaker, an author, a personal brand expert, certified image consultant, and a proud United States Air Force woman veteran. Okay. And so I just came back from a summit. I had an opportunity to speak there, and it was absolutely incredible, y'all. So I'm on a high. So as you come in, you might see and hear and feel the energy. Good evening, Queen. Thank you so much for being here. Yes, you made it in. I was down there in Atlanta for a hot second. And so I did a turn and burn. But if I had been there a couple more days came on, me and you would have been in the streets of the ATL. I already know. All right. So thank you so much, Queen, for being here. And I hope that you are doing well. So tonight, y'all, my special guest I have is Debbie McTammany. All right. She spent 26 years in the corporate world. And then she realized that success wasn't about climbing the ladder, it was about living fully. So one day she chose her. Okay. She walked away from the big girl corporate job. Excuse me, and stepped into the unknown to build something that mattered. Through certification, transformation, and a whole lot of heart, she created True You, navigating through change, a coaching business dedicated to helping women break free from self doubt, overwhelm, and inaction. She helps them to take that first brave step toward the life that they deserve and a life full of clarity, confidence, and joy. This isn't just a business, it's a legacy of empowerment, proving it's never too late to rewrite your story. Y'all, she is so much in alignment with what I share that I was like, let's just have a rich conversation about this. And so I know you are going to absolutely love her. And so she describes her and the work that she's doing now about legacy and creating that on a daily basis. And so she spoke those words out a few months ago, and it really brought her to tears. She never even thought this would be the version of herself that is acutely aware of how her current life is a legacy in the making. So please, please, please put your hands together for my great friend, Debbie. How's it going?
It's going. Thank you. Oh my God, I love all your preview stuff. I was just sitting there in awe, like, oh my God, this is gorgeous. This is gorgeous. I love all your slides. Oh
Oh, thank
my
you.
God,
I
excellent.
when you're in creative mode, you're just kind of like, well, let me try this and try that. And sometimes I'll change it up, and sometimes, I'll like, okay, take it to the first version. But it's all in the creative space, and I love that we can do that. Um, and I am just in awe of what you are doing,
Thank you.
and the alignment, the synergy that we have. And y'all, we met at a networking. It was like networking on steroids. There was so many people at this restaurant called Bonefish Grill, and we were just talking to folks. And then me and her were wearing pink. Okay, see, so when pink is in the building, we attract, and so we saw each other, and then we had a conversation, and then we found out that yes, like we need to collaborate.
Yeah, yeah,
So I am so happy that you said yes and that you're here with us tonight, to just share your experience and share some, tips that, women can use, because most of my audience are women. And it's Women's History Month still. All right. We
yes,
are not
yes.
done. We
Yeah,
are not
no,
done.
we're not done. No. Mm-mm. And it's all 12 months. We just for some reason highlight one month, but for
That's
us,
right. That's
it's
right.
it's every day we're living it. Every
Every
day we're in
day.
it. Mhm.
So
Yes,
tell
we
us
are.
a little bit about yourself, and kind of like, take us into your corporate experience. And then, let's just get the conversation started that way.
Okay, so I had gone up for the corporate ladder. I literally started 26 years when I was there. Literally at the bottom, like literally being an admin to somebody. Like literally,
Mm.
that's how I started. I just moved into the area. I just had gotten married, moved into the area. I had two boys when I was in the corporate space. I had just gone up and up and up. Like I was an operations manager. And then I was in the operations space for like 20 years. I just adored that space. And the opportunity to become a branch manager came up. And I was like, everyone said, well, of course, you're already doing the job. Like this would be simple because we had a lapse of a general manager, somebody had left. So I was doing the jobs, right? They're like, oh, this is a perfect progression for you. Mind that there was not a woman in upper management. It was male dominated at the general manager level. So
Mm.
I interviewed and I interviewed and I interviewed, and they said, congratulations, you have this job. And I was like, oh, great. Well, everyone was happy. I had salespeople, I had 60 people. Everyone's like, oh, this is going to be perfect. We know you. This is going to work out well.
Yeah.
Well, after about 2 weeks of, oh, this is great. We love you. The reality came
Mm.
in of the conflict when you manage salespeople who are making extremely large amounts of money. It's all about what about me? What about me? What about me?
Mm.
So I had to be in the field. I was up at 4 in the morning. I had to get to Northern Virginia. You have a $60 million big girl budget, right? You got to keep your top line, you got to keep your bottom line, and you got to keep your 60 employees all happy.
Mm.
It was, I think I did a good job. They kept saying I did a good job.
Yeah. Of course you did.
I I did I did not love it. I honestly thought, and I said it aloud several times, I hope I can get hit by a bus, maybe have like a minor heart attack so that I could get out of this space for a little while. And people are like, oh, that's funny. I'm like, no,
Wow. Are you
I'm a little
serious?
I'm a little serious about that. I was like, I God, like this is like so it was 24/7. It's 24/7, right? We got sued. I got sued by doctors. It was just it was a lot. A lot of lawsuits, a lot of problems, especially in Northern Virginia. As a female, the demographics down there, they could not speak to me. They're like, you're not we need to deal with a male manager. I'm like, I am the manager, but in that demographics, it was not a female. So a lot of struggles. English wasn't the first language in Northern Virginia. Farsi was. I had to hire district manager that spoke fluent Farsi. Just a lot of things that I didn't quite understand or hadn't seen before with other branch managers, because we were expanding. And that's where I saw the expansion of the $20 million that I brought into the business.
Mm-hmm.
So I was out there selling dental equipment. I was out there riding with my co-reps, my reps. I was out there with my service techs. I was out there getting yelled at, screamed at, everything at, right?
Yeah.
And it was just a lot. And then I had two boys. I had two boys, right? At that time, one was still at home, one was heading to college. And I was the breadwinner. My husband was a teacher.
Mm-hmm.
And it was just a lot. And I just kept saying, I just need to get my resume together. I just need to get my resume together. But I had fear because dental is a small community. I'm like, somebody's going to find out. They're going to find out. So I was like, I'll just work harder. If I work more, then I'll get ahead. If I can just get ahead, it'll be better.
Yeah.
And that was not a good strategy. That didn't work. Then I was working 7 days a week, just trying to get ahead. And everyone could see it, but I couldn't see it. I could not see it. They kept telling me, like, Debbie, what are you doing? Like, why are you working so much? Like, why? And I was like, I don't know. Like, I'm going to find like where I'm happy. I just haven't figured out how to get happy in this job yet. And then one day I walked in on a Monday morning. I saw my boss's car out in the parking lot. Oh, like, never a good day on a Monday. And there was a situation with a territory rep who was thinking about leaving. We did not have non-competes at that time. So these reps were free to go to another dealership. Somebody would offer them $250,000 for a signing bonus to stay for like 3 or 4 years with them. Yeah. What am I supposed to compete with? Like, do you love me? I'll buy you Starbucks. Like, what was I to give somebody, right? And they said, well, we're going to have a problem. Your top rep is a little frustrated and things like that. Like, what are we going to do to fix this? And I remember looking at him and I said, it's not my problem. I'm not going to fix it. Mm-mm. And he's like, what? And I said, I'm not fixing it. I'm done. I'm out. I'm not doing this anymore. And he just started laughing. And he said, what? He goes, do you have a job? I'm like, no, I don't know what is happening right now, but these words just came out of my mouth. Like, I'm leaving, I'm quitting, and I'm not going to come back. He's like, does anybody know this? And I said, nope, you're the first person that knows this. So I said, I'm out. I cannot do this anymore. I literally cannot do this mentally, emotionally, and physically. I'm done. I went, I picked up my purse. I had the beautiful office. I had bought all my office furniture. It was beautiful, like a Barbie dream office. I picked up my purse. I left the keys. And I went and I just went out the back door. I didn't say goodbye to anybody. I didn't know what to say. I just got in my car. I think I was numb. And I called my parents, who had a very interesting response. And then I came home and I knew my husband had a little break. And I called him and I said, this may be a small problem, but I'm going to figure out how to, to get another job. And I said, he goes, what happened? And I said, I quit. He's like, oh, congratulations. And he was like, this is okay. We're going to be fine. I'm like, you know how much money I make, right? We have two kids, one in college and one going to college. Like, hello. Yeah. He's like, it's okay. We're going to figure it out. We'll figure it out. We'll figure it out.
Wow.
And that was it. They asked me to come back. I did not come back. Yeah. Like, what happened to you? I'm like, I don't know. It was just like, you keep pushing the volleyball down in the water, eventually it will come up. Yep. So that's what happened. I took 6 months off. I hired a life coach and I hired a therapist because I didn't know what I needed. I knew I was in some type of potential trauma from everything, from the job. And it wasn't the job, it was me. It wasn't the job, it was me. I realize that now. They didn't force me. I did that to avoid dealing with, I want to leave or I want a different job. Yeah. I didn't know how to verbalize that, or I did, but I was afraid to verbalize that. So it wasn't the job. It wasn't them necessarily. This onus was on me. And it took me a while to see that. Yeah. So I just walked, cried my eyes out for 6 months, cried my eyes out because I had never felt like this. It was just
Mhm.
the most emptiest, saddest, embarrassed,
Mhm.
upset, angry, just so many conflicting emotions.
Yeah.
And my first life coach said to me, she goes, "This is what we're going to work on." I'm like, "Okay, good. I'm a good student. I can get this." She said, "Who is Debbie
Yep.
and what does Debbie want to do?"
Yep.
I was like, "Oh, quick. This is easy. I'm going to be in and out of here fast." Right. And
Right.
she said, "What do you," she goes, "Do you have answers already?" I said, "Yeah." I said, "Debbie's a mom, a sister, a daughter." She goes, "No, no, no, no. Those are your roles."
Yeah.
I said, "Oh." She goes, "We're going to find out who Debbie is." I'm like, I really don't have a clue who Debbie is. I don't know. I'm going to describe it by roles. And then she said, "What does Debbie want to do?" And I was like, "Well, that's simple. I got to get a job." She's like, "No, if you could dream of anything, what would you do?" No, don't think about the logistics. Don't think about the limitations. Don't think about that. What do you want to do? And that's what I spent 6 months working on.
Mm.
So that's how I got introduced to coaching. That's how I got introduced to my first life coach. Debbie was her name as well, too. So from that, I'm like, this is just a container that just made sense to me because I have a master's in psychology.
Yeah.
And I was like, like she was a social worker. And I was like, oh, I never knew that I could have gotten into that field. Like, I never put that together, like social working. You can also be a clinical therapist, things like that. I just didn't understand that container when I was in college. So I said, this is like something I think I want to do. And she's like, well, just pursue it. There's lots of ways to pursue it. There's different credentials and stuff like that. So I just took some time. I did take a job in retail, just to kind of get acclimated, get some incoming coming back in so I could take the
Yep.
pressure off of us financially a little bit. I
Yeah.
realized I'm like, oh, this is a hot freaking job mess, but okay. But you know what? I'm going to stay for a little while. I stayed for almost 3 years. Retail sucks. Oh
Yeah.
my
Oh,
God.
yeah. I've
It's
worked
a
in retail
hot mess.
before. Oh, I
A
know.
hot mess out there.
No, I know.
During COVID, too. During COVID.
No, no,
Oh,
ma'am.
oh,
No,
yeah,
ma'am.
yeah. And then why that time I was working on my certification and I literally started my coaching business right at the beginning of the pandemic. That's what I did. So I was working on my certification. I said, you know what? I'm just going to go out there. And my first client was one of the nonprofits that I work with. She's the president of the nonprofit. And I built my confidence. I got my certification and I haven't looked. I haven't looked back. I have not looked back.
Listen, that right there, the whole progression of what you were sharing, I have a similar story. Again, we're very much in alignment.
Yep.
And, when you are so used to the structure, the system, the business, and then all of a sudden one day you just decide, like, you didn't have a plan or anything, you just flat out just said, I can't deal with this anymore and I'm out.
Yeah.
And not have any, really true options of what you were planning to do. And the bravery it takes for you to say that out loud. Because
Mhm.
sometimes I think subconsciously we tell ourselves that that's what we really want to do,
Yeah.
but we're to keep
Yeah.
pushing ourselves to say,
Mhm.
no, it'll get better tomorrow, or no, this is just like a fleeting moment, no, I can't do this because the security of our family right now,
Yep.
what you were explaining.
Yep.
And I know there's a lot of other women who are in the same predicament as you were.
Mhm.
And, the mental exhaustion is, you know, unreal. I feel like, with all the turmoil that's going on in these days, people are just fed up. They're fed up about the work conditions, they're fed up
Yeah.
about how to even, get through a day. When you said you wanted to like have
Mhm.
a mini heart attack and get hit by
Yep.
a bus,
Mhm.
I'm like, that's
Mhm.
extreme. That's
Yeah, it is.
extreme measures of trying to get out of a job.
Uh-huh. Yeah, it is. And I recognize that, but I was just the fear was just so much. that it was paralyzing to me. Like I knew I could just get a resume. I knew somebody could write my resume. I mean, I knew all those things, but I just couldn't get myself to do it for fear of somebody finding out about it. And that's what just said, okay, just work harder, just work faster, more effectively, whatever, right? You can outrun this.
Yeah.
And then I was like, I can't outrun. Like it just literally, I had no idea when I drove in that Monday morning, those words are going to come out of my mouth. No idea in the world, but enough was enough. I
Yeah.
couldn't do it. I'm like, I cannot fight another battle with another salesperson in this situation. That's it. Whatever. Not my problem.
Yeah.
Not my
So I know there's a lot of people that are, contemplating on whether or not they should stay or whether or not they should go. And so, let's just spend a little bit of time like speaking to that.
Mhm.
What are the telltale signs, if you will? And, I have my list of things, but
Yeah.
I want to know yours. The telltale signs when you think someone needs to really sit back, take a step back a little bit, and reevaluate and reassess where they're at. Like, at what points or what are they feeling? What may be the circumstances? Do you think, or is it time where they really need to, like, I don't know, like write down pros, cons, whatnot, but what would you share with them to do?
Well, I had an equipment specialist that always said, well, work is work, right? Work is not supposed to be fun, right? So why do we all think we're supposed to have fun at work? And I was like, but that was from a 62-year-old curmudgeony man that constantly was frustrated about something I was doing or not doing. So welcome to that world, right? So I constantly had him going, right? But and I was like, okay, work, yes. But I think it's, then some people say 7 out of 10 days if you don't like your job. I'm like, who likes their job anymore, right?
Oh,
It's so different. But I always say trust your gut. Trust your
mm,
gut. Listen to
yeah,
what your gut is saying and just be open to it and just start verbalizing, like, I think I'm frustrated with this, verbalizing what you're frustrated with, and then what can you control
yeah.
in that? Because so much we're frustrated with everything around us, but we don't think it's us, right? And
Mm,
I always, I have a client that's working on this right now, and I said, like, some fingers are pointing outwards, but some of those fingers are pointing inward,
yeah,
right? So maybe we need to drop some of the emotion. Like you're getting revved up every single day on what somebody else is doing, right? And then that comes and rains on your parade every day, which is
yeah.
not making it easier, right? So I said, it is a job. It's an 8 to 5. You're marrying yourself to it. Nobody told you you
Mm,
have to work all these hours or be this committed to it. And you're taking that on yourself, right?
yeah,
So I always say, listen to your gut. What can you control? What emotions are you bringing to it? Right.
yeah.
And then have you started looking? Because when there's light and lift, there is hope. So I'm
I
like,
love that.
light and lift, there's hope, right? So
Yeah,
just stop bitching, like, oh my God, I hate my job. I'm like, or have you have a resume together? Oh, no. I'm like, well, maybe if you would go out there, right? Because you're not going to get a job in like 5 minutes, right? It's a
yeah,
very competitive market. But
yeah,
at least like you're doing something. Are you networking? Are you talking about with other people in your field? Or are you just going to sit there and just bitch about it and complain about it? And I was like,
yeah,
that's not helping you, right?
at all.
So, yeah, you have to take ownership of it.
I absolutely agree. And I do know that when you're in action of doing something,
Mhm.
because we could be distracted by a lot of different things. I would much prefer to be distracted by a dream. Like I'm in dream mode and I'm thinking of where I want to be in
Yeah.
the next 6 months or so. Like planning my exit strategy, if you will,
Yeah.
of
Yeah.
this is the day that I'm
Yeah.
going to say I'm out. But I'm also looking at, you know, like you said, taking a certification,
Mhm.
going to some networking events or
Mhm.
networking conference, something that I'm passionate about and looking more into that. It's the dream, dabble, do approach that I
Mhm.
often share with my clients as well. It's like, do something that that will bring you a little bit more of that fire, and see if that will sustain you, because like you said, a job is like, most jobs anyway. And, I'm from the military background, so we were 24/7. And so,
Mhm.
but most jobs are 8 to 5, where what are you doing after you get off of work, to allow you to have that. And it's like that decompression, like I need to like let off, or vent a little bit, and I need something to get
Mhm.
me fired up for the next day to get back in
Yeah.
there, if you will.
Mhm.
So, but did you have that? Did you have kind of like that, the valve, of doing something after your job when you got off of work?
I couldn't turn it off. That was one of my biggest
Ah,
problems. I couldn't turn it off. I was addicted to it because it was fast paced. It was millions of dollars. I'm making $1 million sales. It was adrenaline based. And man, I could generate a fiscal year close like there was no tomorrow. Give me a goal
wow.
of 10 million and I'm like, let's go light it up on fire. So I was adrenaline. I was in it. And that was my
I bet.
problem. That was part of my problem, right?
Listen,
So
I know. Well, I mean, a lot of times, and I do say this too, from my background, we get addicted to the paycheck, because when it's coming in, and for us it was twice a month, and so you stick with it because you're going to get paid, and you're going
yep,
to do well within that. And you're
yep.
right, that dopamine hit is just like
Mhm.
unreal when you can get that all the time. So, you decided, hey, that's not what I'm going to do. I'm now like transitioning, and now I'm a life coach. And this journey that you have taken on for yourself, like, tell me what you have learned about you.
What I learned about me was that I was not listening to what Debbie needed. I did not
Mm,
listen to it. I tried to outrun it. I thought I was stronger that I thought money, success, the cars, the trips, all that stuff was going to make me happy. And I
mm,
realized, that was one of my biggest paychecks before the year before I left. And it yeah, maybe I had Louis Vuitton bag. Maybe I had a few nice things, right?
yeah.
But I was still freaking miserable. But like I had a nice, like my reps used to laugh, like, oh, she comes with a freaking bag. Clean the car. We gotta have a spot for the bag. I'm like, at least they trained you guys well, because the majority of my reps were male, so they were just hysterical. It was a whole process. But
Right.
um, I just learned that I didn't listen to myself. I didn't listen to myself. I thought everyone saw me progress in this job. They're saying you're doing an amazing job. I didn't want to let anybody down. I'm like, what did they see that I'm not seeing or feeling? Like I'm confused by that because I thought I was outwardly saying I really don't like this job. I really don't love this job. I'm not even sure I'm doing a good job, but they just didn't see that. So I didn't use my voice. And I was afraid of letting people down.
Mm,
And I was afraid, like, we have 2 kids in college and we need to pay. And so I got caught in that trap as well, too. And then the words just came, but I just gave up on myself and my happiness. I
mm,
chose that was gonna be second or third, or I don't even it wasn't even second. I don't even think it was top 10. I don't even know where it was.
yeah.
Um, and so everything I did was like, okay, I can have an hour, I'll go hang out with my friends, but then I have to go do this work. And then I had like it was just constantly back and forth. And I that was self-inflicted. It was
Yeah.
self-inflicted.
You
Yeah.
know, and I think there's a lot of women who have taken on that, and that's that type of energy that it must get done. I am going to work my, self
Mhm.
to the bones
Yep.
and get all the things that I am looking to do, but then they look back and they're not happy. There's no peace, there's no joy, there's none of that sense of fulfillment. And I think more nowadays, women are looking more for, and I say men too. I'm not just, putting that on us, but I do feel like more people are looking to have a sense of purpose and a sense of fulfillment at the
Yeah.
end of the day, to be like, I impacted and I helped other people through the service that I am providing, as opposed to getting all the things, all right, and making it seem as, like these are things that are going to make me truly, truly happy. So we have two people who came onto the show since we've been, in this discussion, and Donnell is one of them, and he says takes the small steps towards your goal, which is absolutely right, because I think we can try to write down the whole list of goals and it's great, but after a while, like, it's overwhelming, to even start to do anything. So that's his piece of advice. And so I also
Sure.
had Mark that came in here, and he's also viewing from LinkedIn. And so I'm so happy that you two are here with us having this conversation. So please chime in with any other comments that you have. We are really talking about Debbie's transition from the corporate space into, now she is now the CEO and founder of True
Yep.
You,
Yep.
navigating through change, and she
Yep.
is now a life coach and she has her coaching business. So, when do your clients come, like at what point in the journey are they coming to you and asking for assistance or support to help them navigate through their change?
So I've been very fortunate. Majority of my clients have come through my referral or being in the community and networking.
Yep.
Because a lot of people don't know exactly what coaching is.
Yep.
Like I thought when I first met my first life coach, I'm like, a coach. My husband was a coach for years. I'm like, perfect. A coach gives you the play and you go run the play, right?
Right.
That's what, right? And then I realized that's not what a coach does, right?
Right.
So a lot of people are confused on what life coaching is, but most people that come to me say, I'm confused, I'm overwhelmed, I feel stuck, I know there's something else. Why does my life feel unfulfilled? It's just like, why? And I don't know where to start. Or
Yeah.
I'm just, I don't know. Like it's just that thing. It's like it feels like something's off. I don't know what's off. Is it off? I don't know. It's just that conversation they have with themselves over and over, saying, the fear, I'm scared, I've got to get out of this job. Like relationships. I had one of my clients was 61 and her husband left her during COVID. She's like, I'm
Oh,
61 years old. How
wow.
what is happening here? So just to help her get back on her feet, to see herself as, I'm going to have a second. She's dating now. She's like, I feel like a freaking teenager.
Okay.
But
All
she's
right.
like, I'm devastated by that in so many ways. We were married for decades. And he just said, I'm out. I'm out.
Mm.
I'm out, and got on a plane and flew to California. And that was really it. He had been planning it, I think, for years. He just used the
Oh.
words, I'm out. So
Uh-huh.
I think most of my women, I've had some men, but most of my women have been just able to say, something's off. I want to be bigger. I want my career to be bigger sometimes, but I don't want to do it at sacrificing of myself. Like,
Yep.
how do I have what I want while still being like in in activities with my family, being present, being elevated, like
Mhm.
so just so many questions, but they just don't know how to start the answer, finding the answers. I'm like, it's all within you, but right now you have so many layers of confusion. It's hard to even figure out where you want to start. So I just start peeling it back. But most people
That's
say, I'm
good.
stuck, I'm overwhelmed, I'm confused. There's got to be something more than this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I agreed. A lot of my clients are looking for clarity.
Hmm.
It's like they do have the answers,
Hmm.
you know, and a lot of times it's just confirmation and validation, and then what is the process? And so, we're in a different way of an approach, but we are looking to achieve the same goal for our clients, is to
Yeah.
get them from a point of where they feel like, life is just passing me by.
Mhm.
I
Mhm.
am just going through the motions.
Mhm.
My clients sometimes say they feel like a robot. They feel like
Yeah.
they are just going through the motions.
Yeah.
It's the same old thing. There's nothing that is kind of like allowing them to feel, like I, I don't even know, like feeling like they can reach the highest potential of themselves. It's almost like they're capped because they know that that promotion, this is what they're going to get, and it's kind of
Oh,
like,
yeah.
okay, this is great. This is wonderful. But I just don't feel like my, like, what do you call that? Like, I want to be able to step into places and feel like I am really connected to the people that are in the room,
Mhm.
you
Yeah.
know?
Yeah.
Because there is sometimes that disconnect of, I wanna be here, but I'm actually here, and I don't
Mhm.
know how to even get there, right?
Mhm.
So it's like,
Mhm.
okay, like, let's just, like, go back to the drawing board and really think about that. Now, and I like you, I love the space that we're in. I
Mhm.
absolutely love that we get
Mhm.
to serve and help others
Yeah.
in our passion, because we've been there, done that, got the t-shirt, right? And
Mhm.
so some people can't see themselves out of that. So, as you continue on in your journey, what are some things that you are planning on for yourself as you are moving, because I've created like soft goals for myself. I think,
Mhm.
there's a lot of, and the vision, where do you see yourself at in the next, few years as you continue on in your transition? Because I think we all are still in transition.
Oh,
Does
we
it matter?
absolutely are. Absolutely are. It's interesting that you said that because the universe just put this opportunity in front of me a few weeks ago. So in Annapolis, there's a place called the Betty Center, and they do it's two therapists that came out and just formed this Betty Center. So they do private, very high end therapy, quote unquote, therapy work, majority for women. But a lot of women come out of therapy or go into therapy and they're like, okay, I got insight, but now what do I do with the insight? Now I feel stuck coming out of therapy. Like, oh, I've got all this momentum, and now I'm like, now you're leaving me. Like, oh boy, now what do I do? Right.
Yeah.
So we are going to be collaborating together. And I'm going to be doing some work where just putting monthly women's circles groups together just to come and talk about where we're at, how are we feeling, like what's going on with you, because we can share in community.
Yeah.
And then I'm going to be doing some small groups of just helping people say, what do you want to do? Like, let's take the first step. Let's be in partnership here with sisters as well too.
Yeah.
So I just lit up because this is a space. It's pink. It's beautiful. It's
Yeah.
gorgeous.
Yeah.
I just felt like when I walked in the door, I'm like, I found my home. So just being in that community, I'm going to elevate. I'm going to help more women. I'm going to elevate my message. Like, I would like to be speaking on stages. I would love to be doing that because I do a lot. I sit on hospital boards. I'm doing philanthropy work. As I said, probably 3 months ago, I said, I'm building a legacy
Yeah.
and I'm going to help other women build a legacy because I watched 11 women when I said that out loud on a circle group. They're like, oh, I want a legacy too. Like, oh,
Yes.
like,
Yeah.
oh, I'm like, you're doing it, but you're not calling it that, right? So let's lean into that, right? You have a
Yeah.
calling. Let's lean into it because I'm not going to get my name on a building or a wing of the hospital. I'm doing the work every single day. And I never thought when I was in the corporate space, my world would be exactly like this now. I
Mm.
pinch myself some days to say, I'm in volunteer work, I'm in service, I'm helping other women. I get to feel emotion, I get to express emotion. Like how did I create this?
Yeah. It is so, like, again, we are like soul sisters when it comes to this,
Mhm.
because we can now start to do the things. these are
Mhm.
realities for us. This
Yes,
is
yes,
stuff
they
that
are.
we can actually, like plan for our day. And, there's a lot to it. And I want to address Mark's comment here before I, talk about what I want to share. But
Yeah,
he says, when you're in it, it's hard to see outside of it. That's when you need someone to help bring you out, you
yep,
know? And it is true, because we are just going through the motions. We don't understand what's happening, what's
mm-mm,
going on, but we
mm-mm,
know that we are on, and
mhm,
there's no really a filter or an assessment or evaluation going on. You're just doing, all right.
yeah,
Karan is in the same space as we are, where she is empowering women through she's self-published several different books
oh,
and journals,
amazing,
and she's
amazing,
speaking as well. And so when you shared that you were, now in these opportunities to go speak, to really be the leader, if you will, of women who are in transition, and then like just to grab their hand and say, hey, okay, like here we go. I've been there, I've done that. I know
yep,
what you're feeling, I know what you're
yep,
going through. I have the
mhm,
credentials. Let's just get
mhm,
on over here so that way you can now move forward, because it is legacy. I talk about legacy a lot too, because I feel like there is um, you know, a forethought that you have to have about where do you want your energy, your time, your efforts being spent in, to where you feel as if the next generation, I'm always looking at my son. We only have one son, y'all. So, like, I don't know how many children or whatever, but hopefully he has children. What would his children's children say about me, as being someone that was making an impact, outside of a title, outside of a position, and that's one of the things that I do every single day. I'm taking intentionality, right? There's some actions that are being taken
yes,
every day so that way there is a legacy being built,
yes,
right?
yes, yes,
So when we can have a community of other women who see that for themselves,
mhm,
you
yeah,
know, it just
mhm.
makes the world just a better place. That's just
It
me.
it does. It does because we have both been there, right? And I'm
Yeah.
a few steps ahead. So let me help
Mhm.
you help yourself right now so we can just start moving, right?
Yeah.
It's time. It's time to go.
Yeah.
Let's go. Let's go.
Yeah.
Let's go create what is that dream inside? Whatever that is, right? Everyone's dream is different. But
Yeah.
let's go start looking at it. I always say let's go start looking at it. What's it feel like? What's it look like? Have you tried it on? Like walk around with it, right? And that's where we start because I have a 27 and a 30-year-old now, and they look at me like I can't, like, this is crazy what you've done with your life. Like, you
Yeah.
used to be in this corporate space, we didn't even know who you were because you were working all the time, and now you're over here. Like, I talk to them every day, like I'm in their lives right now. I'm in their lives every single day, and it's amazing. And they
Yeah.
look at me like, what are you doing now, mom? I'm like, I'm working with the Betty Center. Like, okay, here she goes again, like off on that, right? But they are seeing what is possible because I aligned myself,
Yeah.
and I created this, and it was, I can see it now, but I didn't know when I was in the process of creating it or walking the steps every single day
Yeah.
that this is the dream that I had when I was in the corporate space. But I was like, oh, that's never going to be possible. This is going to work to the day I die, basically. And
Yeah.
then I was like, I had the opportunity and I didn't waste it. I said, what's purposeful to me, what's meaningful to me. And those are the things that I align with. And there's a few, like another board seat coming up in a different organization in women's health around a certain type of cancer. And I am like very fascinated by be able to sit on that board and be able to
Yeah.
help. Yes. And
That
that's what
is
the
so
things, that's what we
awesome.
do. We choose those things, right?
Yeah. These are
And
choices. Yes, this is
yeah,
definitely a choice.
yeah,
And I think that people have the fear, as you were talking about, because there is, a certain level of uncertainty when you try to,
Yeah.
you take a leap of faith and you said, okay, I'm going to do this. So, like, how do you, build your confidence? Like, once you were transitioning, right? Where did you think that your confidence level started to increase and get more comfortable with the uncomfortable, like,
Yeah.
"Oh, okay, this is something totally new. I'm in
Yeah.
a new industry. I don't even know." But where
Yeah.
did you think that you started to see yourself being a little bit more confident?
I think it went back to, because when I tell that story of just quitting, so many people like, that's like crazy. Like, how the frick did you do that? Like, that doesn't even make like logical sense. And I think I always go back to, if I did that and that was hard and that was could have been very devastating to my family, to the income, to so many things, but I chose that, and the people that loved me rallied around me and said, it's fine. We'll just go, we'll figure it out financially. If I could do that, then I just borrow from that Debbie and just say, I have confidence. I chose me, and I continue to choose me every day, because that was crazy. That was a really hard landing, but I gained so much from that, that there's I got into this version of me because of that past version of Debbie.
Yeah. Yeah, that is so beautiful, and that's a great way, to look at the experience, because I absolutely believe in it. So we have Leslie George that is with us. So thank you, Leslie, for coming in, and she says she loves it. It
Mm,
is a reminder that we create our
yeah.
own momentum. There is no need to wait on anyone else.
'Cause you'll be waiting forever probably.
I tell you, looking back at, going and launching, when you launch a business, it is a different beast. I'll say that. Okay. I, again, was in a very conformed environment. No one was talking about no entrepreneurship when I was in service. And so I didn't even know what that would look like. And I didn't know that I would actually become an entrepreneur. And I know you also are in this space of being a new entrepreneur.
Yeah.
So, like, tell me some of the challenges that you've had, um, and, kind of like a little bit of the storyline behind it.
So it was so funny because prior to launching my business in 2021, I had never been on social media. I didn't even know how to get onto Facebook. I called my kids. They're
What?
like, I'm gonna set up a Facebook account. Like, how do you do that? They're like, Mom, there's no hope for you, and hung up the phone. I'm like, I have to get on social media. They're like, Mom, like this, what are you? I remember them. They both hung up. They're like, goodbye, Mom. Right. But I figured it out.
Right.
Okay, took me about a week, or I got
Yeah.
locked out, but I figured it out. So that was fascinating, because I had no social media. I
Yeah.
hid from cameras. I had no social media. So that was like my first major obstacle. I go back and I look at my first video. Oh my God, it was hysterical. Like, I was so awkward. It was just so strange.
Yeah.
But yet I had spoken on a lot of stages because of my prior job. I had to speak on big stages. I
Yeah.
learned how to do that, but I
Yeah.
couldn't do it speaking to a camera, like a social media feed.
Yeah.
So that was one of my challenges. Then I was like, I don't know how to be an entrepreneur, right? I mean, you ask
Mhm.
other people, everyone gives you like what their story is. I'm like, I don't even know I don't even know what you're doing. Like, I'm confused, right? And then coaching is like, do you niche? Do you not niche? I'm like, I don't know. Do I niche? Do I not niche? Like, it was just so many decisions, right? And you're just like, I'm not sure. So
Yeah.
I was like, so screw it. I'm just gonna just figure this out one day. My accountant's like, do you have that form? I'm like, I don't even know what that form is. What is that form? Where do I get that form? I'm like, I don't know. How am I supposed to know that stuff? Right.
Right.
So it's just a comical of errors and
Yeah.
trial and error. And then I call it failure gold. Every time I would fail, I learned something. So
Yeah.
then I just applied my knowledge to something else. But I was like, I'm just going to go out and help women like be stronger, to lean into what they want to create. And the rest of this business crap, whatever, we'll just figure that out somehow. And that's literally what I did.
Yeah.
But it's yeah, I just remember my boys going, "Mom, seriously, you're gonna get in social media?" I'm like, "Yeah." They're like, okay. And now they look at everything. They look at every post I make. I see that they view it. I don't
Yeah.
question them about it, but they're
Yeah.
like, "You have figured this out, Mom." I'm like, "I can do reels. I can do screen changes." They're like, "Oh my God, Mom, like you're hysterical."
It is so funny how we can just figure it out. And I say we're like problem solvers, like, oh, I remember I got Canva, like Canva
Yeah.
was
Yeah.
is the thing, that you do for all your designs. Y'all, there's a lot of software that you can have as an entrepreneur, and Canva is one of those programs.
Yeah.
And I remember getting the account and I was in there and I was like, this right here is complicated. I have no idea what I'm doing in this program software thing. I'm trying to design things and I'm messing things up all the time. And
Yeah.
then after a while, it's like you become somewhat of a pro
Yeah.
because you're in there and you're doing things on a regular. Zoom was another one of those things that I was like, okay, like what are all the functions of Zoom? And then you have,
Mhm.
we're on StreamYard on this
Mhm.
platform. I had to figure
Mhm.
that out too.
Yeah.
So that's what I truly love about becoming an entrepreneur is
Mhm.
the self-development.
Mhm. Yeah.
It's like you learn a new tool, something that you have never thought about, and you get to explore that and be like, wow, like Chat GPT is a thing, you know what I
Yeah.
mean? And
That's a
I
big thing.
realize, oh my gosh, this is a tool. So, I really feel like, when people say, oh, as an entrepreneur, it's hard work. Oh yeah, there is some work that you have to do for sure. But also looking at that personal development.
Yeah.
These are new skills that we didn't have when we were in our other careers.
Correct.
Yeah.
Correct. Yeah, and this is a funny one. So for all my certification, I had to do like I was coaching through Zoom with other people and I had to upload it to the instructors for review.
Yeah.
Well, they're like, "Well, you send the link, you give access to the link in Google Docs." And I was like, "Hey, what's the first step?" They're like, "We'll send you the instructions." I'm like, "That's a good thing."
Yeah, that
Uh,
is.
I'm like lost. They're like, I don't know, like where do I upload the file to? They're like, "Oh boy." But now you want a video, I got you. I can
And
do a
you
video.
got
I can I
that.
upload it. I can give you the access. I can do it all of it. It's funny because I was like, I know I'm an expert at that now.
Yeah.
But it's things like that that you just don't think about. People just assume you know that. I'm like, I don't know that. So we always say, I can you send instructions? I'm not sure how to do that. Can you
Yeah.
walk me through it? Yeah.
And the other thing that this also says is that it's never too late.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter what age you are. It doesn't
No.
matter how long you've been
No.
in your
No.
career. It
No.
really has nothing to do with that. If
Yeah.
you're open to learn and you're coachable and you're ready to just explore, this space can be for anyone who wants to, take advantage of an opportunity. In business, I think business development is one of those things that you can truly see, like you're that next level version of yourself,
Mhm.
because you're
Yeah.
out and about
Yeah.
and you have to tell people what you're doing.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
mean, like having interactions with different types of people and different types of
Yeah.
spaces and
Yeah.
sharing that, you
Yeah.
have to you have to bring your whole self to the situation.
Exactly. Yeah. I mean, I left my corporate job at 51. I'm 61.
Yeah,
I'm 61. Yeah. Right. And
yeah,
people like, aren't you like slowing down? I'm like, I am just beginning to hit my
just getting
stride.
started, baby.
I'm like, I have figured finally out what my passion, my calling is. I'm not, no, like there's a lot of roadway ahead for me. Like, no, 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 no,
Yeah,
no. Yeah.
exactly. Okay, so okay, first of all, Keenan said he loves this. Okay, so thank you so much for being here and listening on our conversation tonight. And Leslie says, I appreciate your
Oh,
transparency. You can only learn from failures, and practice creates mastery.
yeah,
It
yeah,
absolutely does. And she's
yeah.
laughing because of, we have to get through all these programs and stuff. And also, as long as you stay curious, the world
Yeah,
is available to you.
yeah, yeah. It's very true. It's very true.
It
Yeah.
is true.
Hmm.
And the span of time that you've been able to really, achieve so much in your whole, I mean, like your whole life. You kind of look over your life, and I
Yeah,
think that's important too, to kind of see the different levels, the stepping stones to each phase of your life, and to realize that all the expertise, all the skills, all the experience that you've had have led up to this point in
yeah,
your life.
yeah.
And how proud, or
Hmm.
it's a feeling of being prideful, like,
Yeah, yeah,
I'm doing this, you know what I
yeah,
mean?
yeah. Because somebody asked me a while ago, like, would you do it all over again? And I said, in a heartbeat,
Yeah,
absolutely,
yeah.
absolutely. Like, I don't even want to imagine what that Debbie would have been like if I stayed in that corporate space. But I
Ooh,
said, that I was brave, I chose me, and I made something out of that. I didn't make it be a wasted experience for me.
yeah,
I just leaned into whatever it was. I didn't even know what it was, but
yeah,
it and the universe just slowly started unpacking. And now, like, I feel comfortable in this space. I feel comfortable in this space. And then it just started growing. And here I am. And people like, you love it. I'm like, I can't imagine not doing this right now. Like, this is
yeah,
my world. This is my jam. Yeah.
yeah. And you're
Yeah.
doing so, listen, she's doing it in class, y'all. So, this is absolutely wonderful. And I know that, our audience absolutely loved, enjoyed it. We are at the top of the hour, as I knew this would happen, because when you're talking about something as passionate, about life in general, of how you can transition or change at any point. I've always, share with my clients, like rebranding yourself, reinventing yourself. It is possible, and you can definitely start doing something today. You don't have
Yes.
to wait until the
Yes.
perfect time, or
Yeah.
somebody to give you permission, or someone to tell you, hey, like, you're validated now. There's confirmation, and it is important for our spouses, partners, whoever we're living with in our circle, to understand and provide the support that we need. I found that I was at a women's empowerment event this past weekend, and one of the things that we were talking about is the support that is required for you,
Yeah.
to
Mhm.
actually live in the dream, like do the thing. And because if you don't, sometimes that can, be the barrier,
Yes.
so,
Absolutely.
it's like, how do you figure out how to create the destiny for your life, you know? With
Yeah.
all the different elements that are involved, especially at our age, when we have, family and other
Mhm.
responsibilities that we certainly have.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. That's a good question.
Yeah. So Kina says, she said, "This is my jam." LOL.
Yeah. It is. It's
You
my,
know?
it's my, yeah, there's women that it's just, I don't know, like these, they come into my world. They're finding me. And, I've been very fortunate. A majority of my clients are with me for a year or two as we just journey to, one is going to be speaking on national stages, and I'm just so, she went from just, I want this to be a dream, to,
Yeah.
I remember she called me and she was crying and I said, is everything okay? She's like, they called to make my arrangements for my flight, my the hotel, my green room. What do I want in my green room? She's like, I have arrived. And we just cried together. I'm like, I am so proud of you. Yeah.
There is no greater feeling than that.
Yeah,
And
exactly.
that was my same feeling this past weekend. And so,
Yeah.
I'm telling everybody to the top of the hills, like this, the thing, whatever
Mhm.
it is that you're dreaming of, you want for your life, there is a calling for you,
Yeah.
and if you are willing to take the leap of faith and just do it, I can guarantee you, like you said, the universe, for me, it's God, will put everything into place
Yep.
and make it to be. It may be a little rough and a little messy at first, but if you stay on the right track and you really believe in what you are doing
Yeah.
and the impact that
Mhm.
is making, I can
Mhm.
guarantee you everything will be lined up and be
It
ready.
will.
It's waiting for you. Okay. It's just
It
waiting
is.
for you.
And that's what the fun part of it is. There's more coming. You just don't know what it is. It's like you're
Yeah.
just like Christmas every day. You're just like, oh, look at that just worked out. Oh, look at that
Yeah.
just. Oh, look at this client just. I don't know where she appeared from, right? But
Exactly.
that's what happens when you're in that lane. When you're in your lane. I'm in my lane. And it's just the world, like the universe, just keeps us in there and just continues to fill because we have so much good we're bringing to others in the lift and the light, right?
Yeah.
And others need that. And we know that. And we're called to go do that work.
Yeah. Absolutely. And we got Jessica T in the building. Hey, Jessica. She
Mm.
said, be open to the pivot which aligns you.
Oh, there's Jessica. I know Jessica. You
Do
know Jessica
you?
too. Yeah, I know
Okay.
Jessica. She's in my
See?
networking group.
Okay, Jessica.
Yeah,
Thank
yeah.
you so much for being with us tonight and leaving
Oh,
that
thank you.
comment. Because yeah, it is absolutely true. You got to be open to it and you have to be able to recognize it. And I think that's the other point that we were trying to make. You have to be seeing it and going, oh, this is an opportunity.
Yeah,
What is behind this opportunity? What more of it is? Because we can close the door off in a minute and be like, yeah, look, that's not for me right now.
yeah,
I can't do
yeah,
that. You
yeah.
know. So be open to the
Absolutely.
pivot, which aligns you. I absolutely
Yes,
love that.
yes, yes.
So, I do want to ask a question before we, leave y'all, because we go, if we don't leave right now, we be on here for another hour, and I know there's a lot of people who got stuff to do. We got the work week coming up,
Yep.
so we're gonna bring this to a close, but I do want you to share with the audience any other lasting thoughts or points that you want to make before I ask you your last question, if you will, and then
Okay.
we'll toodaloo.
So I always say space and grace to
Mm,
yourself. Give yourself space and grace. Be kind to yourself. Don't always be so judgy on yourself. And the words that I always say, you get to decide.
mm,
You get to decide. Lean into the power, own it, and you get to decide. Yes. So just because you can do it does not mean that it's a right decision for you. So those are the words that I kind of live by, the space and the grace, especially for myself every day. Yeah.
yeah.
Mhm.
We can beat ourselves up and tear ourselves apart
Yeah.
really quickly, and I
Yeah.
think it's just human nature,
Yeah.
and, and I too love that, and I also love, like, you're doing better than you think that you are. I mean, I always think
Absolutely.
that we give ourselves, like, all these harsh, this feedback, like we are not doing well, and believe in me, with all
Hmm.
the hats that we have to wear,
Hmm.
doing better than you think you are.
You
So
are absolutely rocking it. You're just not, you're
it's
finding the fault. You're
it's
finding fault constantly no matter what you're doing.
always, that I could have done this better, or why did I make
Yeah.
that decision?
Yeah.
It's just a long
Absolutely.
myriad of things. And she's
Yeah.
also said happy to be here and so good to see you, Tammy, Rochelle. I look forward to connecting with
Oh,
you in the future. Absolutely. And if you're especially in the DMV, we're gonna see each other one day.
we might see each other on Thursday at the networking event.
Okay.
Yeah.
Listen.
Yeah.
All
Yeah.
right. I would love
Jessica's
to meet her
local. She's
there.
local. She's local
Oh,
too.
okay,
Yeah.
good, good,
Hmm.
good.
Yeah.
Um, so my question for you is about the legacy. Because I ask every guest that I have on this show, um, you know, I'm always dreaming of my 80th birthday party. Like my aunt just had her 80th birthday party and it was absolutely beautiful. I mean, it was top notch. She was dressed to the nine and she had everyone there and everybody kind of went around and shared what she meant to whomever. You know, we got family standing up representing and so forth. So if God allows us to get to the 80th mark, if you will, what do you want your family and friends to say about you?
Been emotional thinking about that. That um, she chose, she chose in time. She made a decision to choose herself, and from that, she walked into what just felt purposeful, meaningful, gave a lift and a light to so many people. Was there my children are walking into engagements and weddings and grandchildren, and I get to be a part of it. That I was there to hold people, to help people be better, to help them be stronger, to chase after their dreams. I leaned into the work, the volunteer work that makes a difference. Like I'm helping raise, gonna raise a couple $1 million for the hospital because that that hospital saved my husband's life and saved my father's life from cancer. I will do anything I can to help give back that way.
Yeah.
So leaning into those missions that I'm called to do. But she is a person that learned how to laugh, to feel emotions, to express emotions. She was with us in the moments, and that she was our rock, because I feel like I am the rock. And I'm honored to be the rock to so many people in so many people's worlds. So that would be it.
That's so beautiful. And you know, when we think about these things, we can get very emotional. And when
Yeah.
we do, we know then we were in the right place. That
Yeah.
is what we were supposed to do. We've been called to. So, y'all, this has been a Slay Amazing conversation. Okay. And you know, Jessica's got like, love this, ladies. Good to see you, Debbie. Love to connect with you. And then connect with Rochelle, hopefully
Yep.
Thursday. Yes. So I told Debbie I had to look at this calendar and make sure that I get it right. It's so that I'm not stepping on anything else that I have. But hopefully I will be there with you. So we had K Ron. Thank you so much for being here. Mark, Donnell, Leslie, Keenan, and Jessica. Thank you so much for being here on the show live, because you could have been anywhere else and you decided
Yeah.
to hang out
Thank
with
you.
us for an hour.
Yeah.
And if anyone comes back for the replay, just go ahead and put hashtag replay and let us know how you are living in your purpose, and
Yeah.
you know, kind of give us your takeaways from this
Yeah.
particular show. And she says, beautiful. I love your authenticity and your vulnerability.
Yeah.
Yes. You know, and that's what is needed in this world, y'all. Okay.
Yeah.
So go out there.
Exactly.
All right. And make a
Yes.
difference, make a positive
Mhm.
difference in this world. And
Absolutely.
as I always say, keep on slaying until you can't slay no more. And I will see you all next Sunday at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We will have yet another Slay Amazing guest with another Slaytastic conversation. So go back, tell your friends, listen,
Yeah.
subscribe to the YouTube channel. There's 1,001 videos over there, y'all. So you can
Yeah.
binge watch all you want. But thank you so much, Debbie, for being
Oh,
here
thank
on the
you.
show
I so
tonight.
enjoyed this. So
I
enjoyed this.
absolutely love your energy. I
Thank you.
love what you're doing. I love that you chose you.
You. Thank you.
You're
Thank you,
welcome.
everyone.
All right, y'all. Bye. See
Bye.
y'all soon.
Okay.